Everyday Life with Guardsmares, Chapter 7.
Specialist Glamour Spear, by the glory of morning dawn, I hereby relieve you at this post.
It was the afternoon shift change, and Specialist Artemis Sparkshower, 19D Armored Scout, presently of the VIP section, Canterlot Palace Military Office, Household Division, was reciting the ritual changing of the guard call.
Specialist Sparkshower, by the peace of the evening dusk, I stand relieved.
Before her, Specialist Glamour Spear, 14E Air Defense, saluted her as she recited her half of the call in response. Of course, no 19D had ever relieved a 14E in the field. This sort of exchange could only happen on, by far, the most unusual duty available to soldiers of any senior enlisted rank, serving as a bodyguard to a very important pony. Her particular VIP, who wasn't actually a pony, was over to her left, sitting at his large bureau and scribbling furiously away with his quill. It was exactly how he'd spent the majority of her first shift yesterday morning, besides the bouts of walking around looking for books or documents, of course. Royal Engineer Anonymous looked up at Artemis from his desk. "Good afternoon, Specialist Sparkshower."
Good afternoon, sir.
She shut the door behind her, hearing the sound of Glamour Spear trotting off in the distance. From the direction of the sound of her hoofsteps, she was taking the long way back upstairs to their quarters, probably planning to strut by Captain Mailtuff again. "So, I had a little discussion with Specialist Glamour Spear this morning. Apparently, she found a few of my habits unbecoming of my station." She brought it up with him? Well, that was bold. Their instructions were very clear. VIP bodyguards were supposed to be seen and not heard. But then again, Glamour Spear struck the Pegasus as a pretty bold pony. "I just wanted to mention that if you had such similar advice, now or at any time later, I would be glad to hear it."
Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
Anonymous looked at Artemis expectantly. She shouldered her spear.
This soldier has no advice for you at this time, sir, as she has not witnessed anything that she would consider unbecoming, sir."
Over at his desk, her charge chuckled. "Ah, right. I suppose you didn't see me do very much yesterday." He pulled his chair away from his desk and stood up, walking over to the lighthouse clock in the center of the room. "I'm afraid today doesn't promise to be much different either, although I am expecting a visitor in an hour or so." The Royal Engineer turned and strode back over to his writing desk. "Which reminds me, would delivering a written message be within your duties in my service?"
Yes, sir. Of course, sir. This soldier is more than capable of delivering any notes on your behalf.
Courier duty in the Guard as a whole was considered pretty low work, being usually little more than shuttling notes from one snooty officer to another. But VIP courier duty, on the other hoof, promised a wealth of excitement. Rushing important government documents to members of the court, fetching great tomes from the depths of the most arcane libraries, rescuing their VIP from social situations with quick deliveries of important sundries. And maybe even delivering a romantic letter to someone your VIP admires, sealed with a kiss, of course. Oh, the idea of that last one got her giddy like a brisk sun shower. The Royal Engineer's voice interrupted her thoughts before they could run home with that idea. "Your comrade made some recommendations as to my exercise wardrobe. Would you deliver this note to the Bridal Path Clothiers in Pole Street? They're the tailors who have supplied the rest of my wardrobe so far." While Artemis was daydreaming of all the fancy kinds of letters that she might deliver, Anonymous had somehow materialized it in front of her with a folded piece of paper for the Pegasus to deliver. She took it and put it respectfully into a small saddlebag at her left hip, before turning and giving a salute.
Shall I deliver this immediately, sir?
"Yes, please do. I expect Purse Strings to be here soon to go over the ledger figures."
Of course, sir. And since you asked, sir, may I say that it would be the most unbecoming of you to receive him without your escort present, sir?
Anonymous arched his eyebrows at her. "Oh, really? It seems that there's more to your service than just protection and prestige."
Yes, sir. Once a VIP is known to be escorted by bodyguards, then for them to go unescorted is a sign of informality and casualness. A courtly personage like the Chancellor of the Exchequer might be offended if you were becoming too familiar.
Interesting. Artemis saluted once more and reached for the door handle. "By the way, Specialist, Armored Scout is your formal job title, isn't it?" She lowered her hoof and turned back to her charge.
Yes, sir. 19D Armored Scout, formerly of the 1st Pegasus Infantry Division, 4th Armored Regiment.
"I was curious. What distinguishes an Armored Scout from any other kind?" Like a summer gale, that question came a bit out of nowhere.
Well, sir, an Armored Scout is armed and armored more heavily than ordinary Scout ponies.
Describing her ordinary military service was one of the things that she'd been told to prepare for in VIP training. Apparently, VIPs sometimes like to hear of a soldier's particular training or be regaled with stories of valorous combat. The classroom MOS training came rushing back, and Artemis found herself reciting her instructor's depiction almost word for word.
Whereas ordinary scouts are expected to either infiltrate in the enemy lines by avoiding contact, or to retreat in the face of anything more than enemy scouting parties. An armored scout team is expected to be able to break through enemy lines by overwhelming forward screening elements. Armored scouts can put other scout units to flight, force Marines to retreat, work to disrupt communication lines, and to make their way deep enough to reconnoiter the main enemy force.
She clanged her armored left hoof into her chest in the clashing salute of the armored divisions of the Royal Guard.
Sir, you may have noticed that this soldier carries a bronze long spear, the heaviest and longest-reaching weapon in the Royal Arsenal. The soldier is also wearing a bronze cuirass in 4 pieces: backplate, breastplate, criniere, and croupiere. You also may notice, sir, that the epaulets built into the backplate can also protect the base of the wings as well.
As she went over the parts of her panoply, she made sure to indicate them clearly to her VIP, gesturing with her head, her hooves, and her wings as needed. She also gave him a moment to get a closer look, and the Royal Engineer seemed genuinely interested.
Additionally, this soldier is equipped with a full-coverage bascinet helmet with visor and chain aventail, which attaches to the criniere. Armored scouts are also outfitted with 4 bronze sabatons and 4 two-piece greaves covering both the front and back of the shins.
Presenting her equipment like this reminded her of inspection time back in Horseshoe Camp. Except, there wasn't a drill sergeant neighing spittle all over her face for a speck of dirt on her sabatons. Instead, she only had the Royal Engineer standing before her, holding his chin in one hand and his elbow with the other. He really did have long legs. No wonder why Glamour spared trouble keeping up with him.
Thusly equipped, an armored scout such as this soldier is capable of fending off any light advance unit the enemy can field, and is on equal terms with the armored main elements of the enemy force.
Absolutely fascinating. But all that equipment must weigh quite a lot, no?
Sir, the soldier's loadout weighs in at 40 pounds dead, which almost doubles an ordinary guards pony's 25-pound load. But with extensive training comes familiarity with the equipment, and the armored divisions are considered the heavy fighting elite of the Royal Guard.
Oh, I see. Thank you, Specialist, for that lesson in armor and tactics. Now, don't let me keep you from delivering that note any longer, lest I find myself without an escort when the Chancellor arrives.
Yes, sir. Although I should say, sir, that if you found yourself in such a situation, at least one of my comrades upstairs is normally on standby duty for such service as well.
Anonymous gave Artemis a smile. Good to know, Specialist. I'll see you back here soon. She gave another hearty salute, opened the door, stepped outside, respectfully closed the door behind her, and then sprung into the air. Armored courier message delivery coming through. One thing I cannot wait for are the Bat Ponies, because apparently they're Spanish, and to voice them and to just see them in general, oh, that would be a dream. Now let's head on over to our magical donators. Top donators, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, and Ponyman. Courier Crucii, Strix, Zar630, Delta Omega, Runescythe 9852, Dospo, Rhiny Dragonwolf, Hunter Norman, Austin Roland, Secret Moon, Tall Russia, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brother and Mordred, Cerberus, Goulash Eating Hazar, Ronin Wandering, Enderai 63, Random Person Man Guy, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal'ca Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Raven Speedster, Sakura Cow, Mr. ECU, and Leslie Prickett. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.